You have to do it as a business, not just a hobby, because like I said, I don't want this to be my side. This is not my side hustle. This is my main hustle, right?
Hello and welcome back to the Amanda Kaufman Show. And we are continuing our series on the coaches that don't suck. And I'm so excited to invite Jamie McKinney to the show today. Hello, Jamie. Welcome.
Hi, Amanda. I'm so thrilled to be here with you. I love your energy, and I'm excited for our forthcoming conversation.
Yeah, me too. We were actually just retracing the origins of our relationship, and I think that this goes a long way to describing how a lot of relationships get formed online. Is we actually met 2 years ago and decided to connect over a class that we were both in. And then the relationship was just a little bit, we kind of checked in now and again and got into it about a month and a half ago, back and forth. And at the same time, I was thinking, gosh, Jamie really knows what it takes. If you looked at her LinkedIn profile, you can see that she's very polished. You've got your gorgeous scenes set up around you. So Jamie, do you want to just take 30 seconds and tell us a little bit about your business? Like, what is it that you focus the most on? Who do you serve? How long have you been in business? That sort of thing.
Yes. So my mission is to empower working women to ditch doubts, speak up, and achieve the careers that they deserve and desire. And Amanda, I know you're also a big fan of, hey, let's build some innate confidence here. That's my specialty. That's my superpower. And that was derived from almost 20 years of working in very heavily male dominated industry, where I learned a few lessons. I learned a lot the hard way, and then I started learning them the better way. And women started asking me to come speak to groups, and not about the technical aspects of what I did, but rather, how are you getting promotions, Jamie? How are you able to stand in front of that room and give that presentation with ease? Were you just born with that? And I would say, no, I've got a formula, I've got a recipe that I follow. And I would love to share this with you. Answer to this question that I wound up having, I air quote this, my dramatic departure from oil and gas, where there was the day that I got fired. I got fired by a narcissist who lied about my performance to protect his. The things that I'm doing now, empowering others with confidence just for fun and because I wanted to, those were already happening. And then some little trickles of writing the book that you can now see sitting over my shoulder.
I was going to ask you about that. That's awesome.
Speak Up Sister, the Professional Woman's Guide to Confidence and Success. That was in the works. So when I got fired, I had actually had a publisher she had reached out to me, and I had said to her, like, all right, not top priority, things can change. And so I texted her on the way home. It was like a Tuesday when I'm like, I'd never not worked on a Tuesday. And I sent her a text. And I'm like, hey, my schedule's freed up a little bit. Do you meet over coffee to talk about what this actual book writing process looks like? And so we did. And I spent the next 3 months writing my book. And when I finished the book, I still didn't know what I was going to do for my career, because I'd always worked in some aspect of sales, business development, marketing, and technical industries. But I finished the book and I looked at it and I said, if I do say so myself, like, there's some really good content in here. And there's a lot to do in this book, not just read, because you can't, to flex your confidence muscle, you've got to actually do. Yes, there's a big mindset piece, but then you have to step into action.
Yeah.
And so I hired a business coach to say, hey, how do I bring this to life? Because one book launch doesn't drive the impact that I wanted to, nor does it make for a retirement account. And I, wanted to be able to do this from a sustainable place. And he was the very first person to say to me, did you know that you were born to be a coach?
That's amazing. Like, when you heard that, like, how'd that hit you? Did you accept that right away, or?
That's a great question. I had so much respect and admiration for him. This is the first person I'd worked with as a personal coach to me, and a business coach. And so when he said that, I remember just pausing and sitting back, and I was just quiet for a minute. And I said, tell me more. What is that even?
Spoken like a true coach, folks. Her first reaction is, tell me more.
Wow.
So good.
I guess he was right.
Yeah.
Additional conditioning, right? And practice and learning and certifications and things. But yeah, it was really cool. The reason that we hire a coach is to expose blind spots, to expose things that we can't see about ourselves, that somebody who's trained to see something in you that you don't see yourself can say, have you thought about? And that can truly change your life. It changed mine. And now it does of my clients whom I serve.
I
It's
love that.
really exciting.
I love that. Now, I don't want to forget this. So, is your book still available? Is it
Oh yeah.
something? Okay, we're putting that in the show notes so that anybody listening can go check your book out. I love this. This is so good. It's like you were granted all this freedom suddenly, and like your first call pretty much was pseudo to a coach, a book publisher, but that was guiding you through the whole publishing process. And your second big call was also to a coach. So, can you tell me a little bit about what told you that was a really good approach? Because I see a lot of people and they're like, I want to start a thing. And they honestly struggle to even Google it. And so to think ahead of, I want to work with a person on this process. Again, did you like stumble into that, or were you taught that somewhere along the way to ask like a who for help specifically?
That's a good question. Something that I talk about in my book and in my signature coaching program is building your MAC team. And MAC is an acronym for mentors, allies, and champions. And
Nice.
it's something that early on in my career, I figured out was an absolute must, especially when I was the one of 3 women on a team of 400. I was the youngest by an average 20 years. I didn't come with industry experience, and I was eaten alive for a little while, or felt like it. But when I started to get strategic about very intentionally creating relationships and networking with people who serve the role of mentor, people who serve the role as allies, and people who serve the role as champion, because there's definitely a difference among those. That really
Yeah.
just got me in a good habit of realizing that, yes, it's important for me to have my goals in mind and my aspirations, but we don't achieve goals on an island. There's always other people that are there to help you. And when you connect with people who want to help you, that just accelerates your success that much more. It's a lot more fun. I think about it like, I have this picture that I show in my coaching program, and it's of a Formula One driver.
Oh my gosh, my son would love that.
Okay, so visualize this with me, Amanda. So it's like you're in a drone and you're looking over top of this. It's a red car, and so you can see the driver and like the helmet, and then you see the pit crew around the driver. And the pit crew, one person's changing the tire, and somebody's doing something with the oil, and somebody's inspecting under the hood. And the driver's sitting there, and you can see there's arrows like this is the direction that it's going. And I ask ladies in my coaching program, could that driver cross the finish line without the pit crew team? Here's where, with my coaching hat on, I'll compassionately challenge that a little bit. I think that driver could. They could ostensibly cross that finish line, but they're going to be last, right? Because they're going to be the one to get out and change the tire and change the oil, while other people in that same race driving that same kind of car have got a team that's there to help them and wants to. And so that's your MAC team, right? They're there because they want to be. And so because I had been conditioning myself that way throughout my career, and it opened up numerous opportunities, and it put me in places that I never would have been had I just tried to do that on my own. I think it was something that had just been ingrained in my neural pathways of, okay, I have this thing that I want to do. Now go find somebody else who's done it or who's smarter than I am in this category and can say, here, do this or do that. Because with Google and TikTok, you can stumble and fumble over a lot of stuff, but you can sure accelerate that and take out a lot of the bumps and bruises when you've got a human who's cheering you on and saying, hey, come over here. Let me show you this door that I just unlocked for you. And it's way more fun.
I completely agree. I think that it's very tempting. What I was thinking about is, so my son is really into Formula One. It's really interesting that
I'll have to send you the picture.
Yeah. And on Fridays, I'll play his Formula One racing games with him on the Xbox. He's always trying to tell me, you've got to be strategic with the pits, mom. You got to be strategic with the pits. And I was thinking about that. I'm like, no amount of help is going to make up for refusing to drive the car. Right? Like you've got to drive the car, you've got to push the limits of it, and you've got to know. I think there's a big know thyself part of this and part of success of, okay, this much I'm carrying, this much I'm building my capability in. But to your point, you have to have that pit crew, because if you never ever pull in that help, and I see a lot of entrepreneurs actually struggling sometimes because they lean a little too hard on the pit crew. Forget
Mhm.
that they're the driver and
Mhm.
that they need to be the CEO and they need to, if this is your path, of course, you can be a coach working for another coach's vision. That's absolutely acceptable and totally cool. But a lot of the people I work with, they're wanting to be entrepreneurs. I am curious, what's your take on what it has taken? You've been in business for over 8 years now, right?
The consultancy has been around 8 years. Specifically, this side has been about 5.
About 5. Okay, no big deal. That's huge. I am actually really curious, Jamie, you've been working with your coaching business for the last 5 years, a consultancy for 8. What have you found have been the 3 keys to success to your business so
Mhm.
far, or to your coaching practice just in general? And I'm basically asking, what are 3 ways a coach can not suck?
Yeah. Such an honor to be in the I don't suck category. So thank you for
Congratulations.
that. Okay, 3 keys to success. One is I absolutely love what I do. Like I have just an innate passion and drive to help the women and the men who I empower. When I get a text from my client that says, I got it, or I did it, or like that went so well, I get goosebumps right now, just hypothetically thinking about it. And fun fact, while I was on maternity leave this year, my graduates of my program that I finished up right before going on maternity leave, 15 of them earned promotions and collectively increased their salary by $310,000. So that was
That's
pretty
some
fun.
impact. That's really cool.
Yeah, that was pretty fun to get those text messages even while I had teeny tiny little babies saying, yes, go Shiros, go. So that's one key is that I absolutely love what I do. And I wake up so excited to empower someone to find her voice and get what she deserves. The second is I'm very strategic with my business and with my skills as far as flip-flopping between adding a new business skill and adding a new coaching skill or certification. So like where you and I connected, that was a group focused on a business skill, like a marketing aspect. And then so I like to do one of each year. And then I
Oh,
believe in
that's
that same
wonderful.
thank you. Yeah. And that same year, I believe that was the year that I got my positive intelligence certification, which is another tool in my coaching toolkit. It's a tool I absolutely love. That would be a second key of being mindful that if you're doing coaching as a business, you have to do it as a business, not just a hobby. Because like I said, I don't want this to be my side. This is not my side hustle. This is my main hustle, right? And then the third key is as a solopreneur to find a mastermind, find a group of like-minded individuals, like people smarter than you in the same room, that we all have this compassionate curiosity and willingness to help each other to become our higher selves, right? Or again, to help with that exposure of blind spots, or in your business, have you thought about doing it this way? And that we do that for each other. So those I would say are the 3. Have the passion for what you do, be intentional about building your skills, and be intentional, it's Mac team again, about with whom you're surrounding yourself.
That's so good. I would agree with absolutely everything that you said. I think it's tempting when you're looking at your results to pull back on maybe one of those things, right? Maybe I don't need to renew a certification this year. Maybe I don't need to continue to invest in the business. I should just grind and hope for the best. And I think like those are the exact insidious kinds of thoughts that are a little like driving around the track without the pit crew, right?
Mhm.
You need those things. And I think something else I really heard in your response there was you seem to, and just correct me if I'm wrong, if this is a total hallucination on my part, but you seem to be someone who is very decisive, like you've just decided that this is how it will be. And therefore, also, you have a set of standards, things that you're going to stand for and things that you won't stand for. And I think that this is another area that a lot of, especially newer coaches, really struggle with because we want to do a good job by our clients and we want to help them however we can. And we know that it's a struggle for them, but it can flip into sort of this people pleasy place. I'm
Mm-hmm.
curious, am I on the nose with the decisiveness and the standards, or am I off?
Yeah, no, I appreciate your observation on that. And yes, the phrase in trying to please all people, you wind up pleasing none. And it
Mm.
really is important, especially at the beginning, to just stay in your lane. If you join a program and they have you work on your client avatar, do that. Get to know your avatar inside and out because it will make your marketing that much more targeted. You will speak directly to someone in a way that they will hear you, as opposed to speaking to many, completely lost and dissolved in all the other things that they're exposed to. Simultaneously, you're filtering out people. And the only thing worse than having no clients is having the wrong client.
Oh, yes, that is true.
That's going to cost you far more in energy. And as a coach, part of your product is your energy. And so
Mm.
protecting your energy is incredibly important, because that's an investment in you, which then invests in your clients and the ones that you want to be there. It's like a virtuous cycle that you're creating and avoiding a vicious cycle. And both of those things are important.
So good, so good. I love this, Jamie. I could really talk for 3 hours with you very easily. I can already
When's the
sense
retreat,
that.
Amanda? When are we going on the
I
retreat
know,
together?
right? It was like we gotta shift to more of a modern wisdom. Just do these 3.5 hour episodes. But sadly, our time is coming due. I'm gonna make sure we have the link to be able to support your book, to get your book, learn from your book. But what's the best way for people to follow you online?
Yes. So I have a freebie I would like to offer your audience. It's called my Speak Like a Boss practice guide. So
Ooh.
it's a variety of scenarios that you will encounter, common things in the workplace. It tells you what not to say, and then it gives you a variety of options of what to say to speak with your assertive, empowered voice. So it's jamiemckinney.com/slab, which is the acronym for Speak Like a Boss.
I love it. That is so valuable. So we'll make sure to have the link to that in the show notes as well. Jamie, I just really want to say thank you so much for joining and sharing your wisdom. I really appreciate it.
It's been a blast, Amanda. Thank you so much for having me, and so glad that our paths crossed again.
Yeah, me too. Hey, listener, thank you so much for tuning in on this conversation. Do us a favor and make sure that you are subscribed and that you leave a 5-star review for all of the amazing tips that Jamie just shared with us today. It'll help other coaches be able to find our content more easily when you take the 30 seconds or so to do that. Thanks, everybody. Have a good one.